Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is David, and I'm glad to be here for another ATLUS news episode. Before we get into the swing of things, I polled you guys on my community page on YouTube to ask you all, should I talk more in ATLUS news episode about Midori, the reliable ATLUS leaker that leaked a bunch of stuff in the past, recently talked about Metaphor Refenizio and Reload coming to Switch 2, leaked details about the DLC for Reload before it was data mined. She said the answer would be coming to Persona 3 Reload. Make sure you check out my latest video. The game was data mined after release, and now we have the confirmation that it is indeed the case. She leaked the DLC for Tactica, she leaked Tactica, she leaked Reload. Basically has a perfect track record at this point, and she's putting a ton of info out there that I feel was a shame you guys were not getting. Those are still rumors. I want to make that clear, and don't worry whenever I talk about this in upcoming ATLUS news episode, because I will, since you guys were overwhelmingly positive when it comes to my poll asking if I should include her leaks in my videos or not. Whenever I do, it's gonna be very clear. You can count on me for that, and please tell me if I was not clear enough. For today's video though, it's a topic that I wanted to revisit even if Midori would have kept quiet about it, which she didn't. And here is why. So here's a Twitter thread, obviously 1 or 2 days ago, as of the time of the upload of this video. She just tweeted, "Good morning." And then someone called @It'sLucas Kim asked her, "Midori, any rumors or leaks about a Persona 4 remake?" And then Joaquin Ren, someone else, said, nah, how about Persona 2 remakes? And she replied with, "Both exist at ATLUS." Meaning that both a Persona 2 Duology remake or a Persona 2 remake of some sort and a Persona 4 remake are in the works at ATLUS. And that is the information. You can check out the thread, link is in the description. As always, I always source my sources in my videos, so make sure you check it out. You can follow Midori as well. Her Twitter will be linked in the description. Again, very interesting information coming from her, and she deserves a lot of credit, so gotta give credit where credit is due. That being said, to me, this is not a big surprise. We have no details about these projects. They are in development at ATLUS, or they exist at ATLUS is what she said. So it's on a board somewhere at ATLUS, which can mean, hey, let's do this at some point. It can also mean, hey, here's a cool idea. It can also mean we're in development for these games. We're midway through. We're close to release. We don't know. We know nothing about those. But I want to bring your attention back to a poll that ATLUS did. I think it was during the Persona 25th or something, 2 years or so ago, and that poll was said to be the main reason why Persona 3 Reload exists. It's right there. You can see it on the screen. Oh, right there. It's right here. That's my Reload copy. Playing that game is really, really cool. Make sure you check out my first impressions of the game if you're interested. But that poll, as you can see on screen right now, polled fans, a large amount of ATLUS fans, about what game from our back catalog would you like to see remade? Would you like to see brought back in some sort? And the results were very interesting, with an overwhelming response to Persona in general, but number one was a tie, with 78.9% of people voting for Persona 3, the original, getting a remake. Here's Reload. ATLUS said it. That poll is part of the reason why Reload exists. It is tied with Persona 2 Duology, which to me meant at the time that they're gonna do something about Persona 2 finally. And same thing for Persona 1, because you have Ibunroku Persona right there next to it, being the original Persona game on PS1. Here it is. So very exciting stuff. To me, that means they're gonna go back to these games at some point. Now, Persona 4 is the 4th most voted game on that list, which to me, again, means they are looking at polls. ATLUS said it multiple times in the past. They like to poll people. They like to poll their fans about what they want to see next. And they were also open telling us that is the reason why we got Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remastered in 2020. So they are listening, which is really cool, and I think which is the reason why we're gonna get episode / the answer for Reload as DLC, because again, I'm still doubtful about how well it's going to do as DLC, but a lot of people were expressing themselves saying, hey, we want the answer in Reload. The answer should be in Reload. And even if I'm not a fan of the answer and I feel it's a fine release without that content, I still felt like for a $70 remake, it should include all the content. So even I, who's not a fan, was saying, hey, I think the answer should be in the game. Now, I think the reason why we're getting the answer late after P3 Reload launched is because they saw fans asking for it. The game's been in development for 5 years. It started development in 2019. They saw the fans' reaction after the release of Reload, and they started working on the DLC. That's my bet. Now, when you look at the most requested remakes, you also see remasters, which is interesting. Here's at number 10, the original Etrian Odyssey on Nintendo DS. 2023 saw the release of Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection, including an Etrian 1, 2, and 3, released on Switch, released on PC. They brought that game back. Now I'm eyeing my favorite child here. SMT4 is also on that list, and I really hope they do something with this game because it's a gem and it should be way higher on the list in my opinion. But I'm still very excited to see Persona 2 Duology right there at the top. And honestly, after playing Reload, I'm even excited to see Persona 4 being brought up on that list, and by Midori as well, as something that could come back at some point. Because hey, if we get around to the PlayStation 6, Switch 2, and the next Xbox, PC, whatever, and we get a Persona 4 that looks even better and that runs even better than Reload does, well, great, because P4 is a game that aged really well. Does it need a remake? No, I really don't think so, because you can go back to Golden today and you're gonna have a blast. It's a game that aged extremely well, way better than 3 in my opinion, which I also didn't think needed a remake. But as I said on Twitter a few days back, yeah, even if I thought P3 didn't need a remake, it is enjoyable. So I'm looking at P4 with different eyes. I don't think it needs a remake as much as the Persona 2 Duology does, but I would still be excited to play it if it happens. So it's great to see that it's in development. Now when it comes to P2 Duology, I wanted to bring up Etrian Odyssey, because Etrian Odyssey got quality of life improvements with the Origins collection. It got HD visuals, it got modern controls, but that's it. They're still ports, they're not big remakes like Reload is. So what are they gonna do with Persona 2 Duology? I think these games would work extremely well with just that. And I know some of y'all won't like this, but I would like for the Persona 2 Duology, Innocent Sin, and Eternal Punishment to come out with HD visuals on all platforms with a lot of quality of life improvements. Gameplay tweaks could be here as well, but I hope they keep the gameplay and they keep the story as is. I know it would be, because I don't think it would be possible for ATLUS to implement some of the modern elements of modern Persona games in terms of gameplay, like the calendar system, the social links. I feel it would be forced in a Persona 2 remake. So it's fun to speculate on this thing. So I'm really wondering, what do you guys think? I think that it's really early for the Persona 4 remake discussion, but when it comes to P2, it's been a topic of discussion for a very long time. The games, I had a little bit of hope during P25 that maybe they would just port them to something. It did not happen. Same thing for Persona 1. I think that game is overlooked. I think more people should give it a shot because it's a real good game. Not as good as P2 in my opinion. Still a very good game worth playing. So Midori giving us that information is something cool. Is something that you guys should still be cautious of, because I don't think you should get very excited for these games. We saw Reload. It's a remake through and through. It's pretty much the same game but fully remade. New visuals. They really changed. They changed certain things, but it's really Persona 3, right? The dialogue is the same for the most part. The gameplay, they changed certain things. They added quality of life stuff, but it's very much P3. They didn't change structural stuff like you're gonna see in other remakes, like a Final Fantasy VII, which I'm sorry, I know it's the obvious game because right now Rebirth is right around the corner. That's what I thought of. But that game, it's not, well, it's FF7, but it's not the original FF7. You know, those are two different games at this point in the same universe with most of the same characters. I don't think ATLUS is gonna do that for neither one of these games. For P2 and for P4, I can't see it. I think we should expect something along the lines of P3 Reload for P4 and something along the lines of Etrian Odyssey Origins Remastered for P2 and P2 Innocent Sin and P2 Eternal Punishment, or even something along the lines of Nocturne HD Remaster, but hopefully something a little less crusty, like with more work put into it, a little bit more budget. That way you make it look very clean and crisp. you need to add quality of life stuff in the P2 Duology more than in Nocturne, in my opinion, because these games aged a little bit. I played Innocent Sin that I replayed. Yeah, I replayed Innocent Sin a year or so ago on PSP, like on my original PSP with a UMD. No emulation, with my UMD. And as much as I liked it, because I love these games, and because of nostalgia, because I played these games when I was very young, actually, in my ATLUS career or so, if I can say that. So I love these games, but I'm well aware that in modern day, it's not easy to go back to them. It's why they're low on my list for newcomers. I think most Persona games are better games to jump in than Persona 2. It's a commitment too. Those games are very long in theirs too. So enough rambling for today, you guys. This rumor, this leak by Midori, it was an interesting topic of discussion that I wanted to cover. To be clear, in these news episodes in the future, I won't talk about everything that she says. I'll talk about what I think is an interesting topic of discussion. Like, she mentioned a Netflix game being in development at some point. I'm not going to talk about that much, you know, but stuff like this I feel is interesting to talk about, so I will. Please give me your feedback about this new style of ATLUS news episode. Tell me as well if you like the timestamps that I added, which is new for the channel. You guys asked for it. Some of y'all asked for timestamps whenever I cover ATLUS news. Whenever there's multiple topics, I will do that. So if you like that, please tell me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. The channel's been doing great. So thank you so much for y'all's support. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.